So as we continue to model here, it's going to be a lot easier to be able to see through these objects to what's going on behind them. So I'm going to select both of them, and then I'm going to right click on Object Properties, and we're going to turn on See-Through. Turning on See-Through for these objects and Backface Call is going to allow us to see through them to the background and then have a much better idea of where anything behind this object may actually be. So we're going to continue modeling the arm, and we're again going to start with some pretty basic objects. So I'm going to start with a cylinder, and then we'll drag it in from the side view here. So as I drag it in from the side view, it seems like that'll be about long enough. So we'll drag it out, and it's going to be a bit too long, so we'll bring that back. And then we want to adjust our radius. So we'll start with the radius at the origin here, about where we want it, and we'll end up tapering that to make it a little bit bigger. Again, I'm going to right click on Object Properties, and we'll turn on See-Through and Backface Call. Now, before I get too far here, I do actually want to start naming my objects so I don't get too far behind. So we'll select the body object, and we'll call it Robot Body. Select the elbow, we'll name it Robot Right Elbow. And then we'll grab that, and we'll name it Robot Right Up Arm. Alright, so now on this one, I'm going to apply that taper modifier that we looked at previously. And as I increase the taper here, you see we'll bring that out to the spot we want. But we want to adjust our curve, kind of make that a little bit cooler. Alright, so that looks pretty good there. Maybe we need to move it up just a touch. Well, that works. Alright, so now I can see from the side view here that the center line of my two objects doesn't really match up. And it probably should. So we'll bring that back down. Now as we work, there may be times where we actually don't stay absolutely true to our reference image in the background. That's okay. The reference image is really that. It's reference. It doesn't, mean that we have to be absolutely true to it. It's just our starting point. It's the idea. So I'm going to need another circle over here, another sphere, but it's cut off. So we'll actually just grab this sphere, our modified box, and we'll shift drag it over to copy it. So when we bring it over there, we're going to make it as a copy, and we're going to call this right shoulder joint. And then we will fix the name on this one. Alright, so this one we need to be a bit bigger. So we're going to go back to that box object, and we're going to go, well, that looks like that'd be good about there, so we'll make them 1 foot. So now when I click in here, I can just type in 1, and it makes it 1 foot. Alright, so that is now 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot, which will work out just fine. We'll drag that back, line everything up. Now, that one, since maybe you can make it a little bit bigger. We'll make it a little bigger there. So we'll go 1 foot 1.5. And then I'll just copy that. So I'll highlight it, hit Control C, highlight, Control V. Alright, now we're the same all the way around. Line everything up. So this object, I can't really have a modified box anymore. I need to be able to cut it off. So we're going to right click, convert to an editable poly, and then we're going to get in here and beat this thing up a little bit. So I'm going to grab all these polygons right here, and I'm just going to delete them. Alright, so I hit delete. Now if I look at this from the end here, you can see it actually has no polygons there, which is going to present a problem. So the easiest thing to do, we'll go to border, and we'll click on that edge. And like I said a minute ago, border selects all the edges around an opening in the mesh. So since that's open, there's our border. So the easiest thing to do here is just hit cap. When I hit cap, it closes off those faces. Now the downside to cap is that it's a pretty messy piece of mesh. Where you can see I've got all of these edges and all these vertices coming up to one big giant polygon. So for here, we're not going to do that. We're going to hit undo, and then I'm going to right click and isolate that object. Alright, so since this object's here all by itself, we're going to go to edge, I'm going to deselect that border, we're going to select a couple edges there, and a couple edges there. Now what I can do is I can use my bridge tool. So if I click on bridge, right here it creates a couple new polygons for me. But we've got to kind of guesstimate, at least for now, how many edges we want along the way. So if we do that, seems like that should work pretty well. So we'll OK that, and then we'll go and grab a couple new edges. So we grab those, now we hit bridge, we need a whole bunch less segments along the way now. And we'll want one more there. So we okay that, go with that edge, bridge, this edge, bridge. And then we'll grab vertices, and we'll select that vertex, and then we'll hit target weld. So I right click, go to target weld, and I can just drag that vertex to where I want it to go. Alright, so we ended up with a triangle there, which I generally don't like. So I'm going to target weld and get rid of some of these extra vertices. So we're going to grab that. Then we'll grab these and move them back over. So now we know that when we go to edge here and join these two edges together with bridge, that we only want 2 segments. So we'll okay that. Now though, the downside is that bridge here did not join those 2 vertices together. So I can select the 2 of them and hit weld. Well, the weld threshold must be too low, so when I just hit weld, it doesn't bring them together. So I can hit the settings box, and as I increase the weld threshold, see, it snaps them together. So with a low threshold, they don't come together. High threshold, they pop there. So then down here, we'll do the same thing. Grab that edge and bridge. And then we can just use target weld. Ooh, except we don't want to go that way. We don't want that vertex to move. We want that to stay on the profile of that sphere. So we'll go back to target weld. We'll drag that one over to that one. Alright, so then we've got quads all the way around. So I'm going to finish up modeling the other part of that sphere, and then we'll move on from there.